I know you've been getting a lot of updates, but we obviously just completed our first meeting in person, our annual meeting in 3 years. From my standpoint, this is no time to get complacent. We have a lot of work to still do.
NFL Commissioner Roger Goodell has officially stepped into the Shedeur Sanders controversy, and things are starting to heat up. Reports confirm that Goodell is far from pleased with how this situation has been handled, and he's making sure the league knows it. In fact, in a private meeting with Browns owner Jimmy Haslam, Goodell urged him to take a hard look at this issue, stressing that a lot needs to change if the NFL wants to move forward without further backlash. According to insiders, Goodell is worried that if these problems tied to racist ownership agendas continue unchecked, it could seriously harm the NFL's reputation and momentum. This is no longer just about Shedeur Sanders. It's about the league's image, its leadership, and how it addresses deep-rooted issues within its own system.
We will make sure that if there were violations, that they won't be tolerated. But when we know what those facts are and the impact it has on our game, we'll deal with it
Commissioner Goodell is not backing down, and he's making it clear that this issue isn't going to be swept under the rug. He has directly pointed out that the actions taken to keep Shedeur Sanders out of the first or even the second round of the draft raise serious concerns that can't be ignored. Goodell has emphasized that this is bigger than one player. It's about fairness, integrity, and the future of the league. He's reportedly committed to making things right, both for players like Shedeur who were directly impacted and for the NFL as a whole. Goodell understands that if these questionable decisions go unchecked, they won't just hurt the players, they'll damage the credibility of the league itself. This is why he's stepping in now, determined to protect the NFL from a fallout that could shake the foundation of the game. Goodell is fully aware that what went down with Shedeur Sanders was unfair, and he isn't staying silent about it. He's now pressing Browns ownership to take real action, pushing for changes that will ensure Shedeur gets the opportunity he was denied before. Goodell's stance is clear. Shedeur deserves his shot, and the league has a responsibility to make sure players aren't held back by politics or hidden agendas. By putting pressure on the Browns, he's signaling that accountability has to start at the top if the NFL is serious about protecting its players and its future.
Keep moving, particularly as we're going through a changing business and social and media landscape. This is something that we obviously have to work our way through and continue to make progress in all those areas.
Goodell didn't hold back when addressing the draft situation, openly stating that the NFL's team owners failed to meet the standards expected of them. He highlighted how a clear first-round talent was allowed to slip all the way to the fifth round without any legitimate reason, stressing that this wasn't about performance. It was about trying to hold him back for who he is. In his words, this is a blatant failure of the system, and one that cannot be ignored any longer. Goodell made it clear, the league is not living up to its own standards. And if the NFL is to remain credible, changes must be made immediately to prevent this from ever happening again.
You start with the fact that we have a very high standard for our own conduct, the way we handle things. And we didn't meet that standard.
Wait, how didn't you meet the standard?
We didn't meet the standard because we didn't get it right.
Goodell went even further, making it clear that this isn't just about getting Shedeur Sanders on the field. It's about uncovering the truth behind why things went so wrong in the first place. He vowed to dig deep and identify exactly who was responsible for allowing this situation to spiral against a player of Shedeur's caliber. According to Goodell, the league will closely investigate whether there were hidden motives or shady dealings at play, leaving no stone unturned. His message was firm. Accountability is coming, and the NFL will not shy away from exposing anything murky that might have influenced these decisions.
Personal conduct policy. So they recognize that that's something that we're going to pursue. We're going to make sure that we get to the bottom of the facts and make sure that how it applies to the personal conduct policy. That's where we are at this point, and when we get to that.
Roger Goodell has made it crystal clear that he is not going to let this controversy fade into the background or get brushed aside with excuses. What happened with Shedeur Sanders is not just about one player slipping in the draft. It represents a deeper issue that speaks to the culture of the NFL and the responsibilities of its ownership. Goodell knows that if he stays silent, he'll be endorsing a system that has repeatedly failed when it comes to fairness, equality, and diversity. That's why he's doubling down, declaring that the league cannot afford to let a situation like this repeat itself, especially when it concerns a player who had the talent and credentials to go in the first round, but was deliberately dropped all the way down to the fifth. For Goodell, this is not just about football. It's about the integrity of the NFL. He stressed that the league thrives only when every player, regardless of background, race, or personal connections, gets a fair chance to prove themselves on the field. He underscored that diversity is not just a talking point for press releases. It is supposed to be a value embedded into every part of the NFL. Allowing a black quarterback like Shedeur Sanders to be denied his rightful shot without any football-based reason was, in Goodell's view, not only a violation of fairness, but an insult to the very foundation of the game.
These are issues that we want to address in these communities, and we want the NFL's support.
But they're still kneeling yesterday, quite a few.
And this time, Goodell isn't mincing words. He pointed a finger directly at team owners, saying their actions during the draft process fell far below the standards the NFL claims to uphold. Owners are entrusted with building the future of the league, and when they let bias, whether racial or political, cloud their judgment, they endanger the entire system. Goodell is demanding that Haslam acknowledge what went wrong with Shedeur Sanders and commit to doing better, not only for Sanders, but for every player coming into the league in the future. According to insiders, Goodell has even gone as far as to say that if owners like Haslam cannot uphold the values of diversity and fairness, then they are failing not just their own teams, but the NFL as an institution. Goodell's strong words have sent shockwaves throughout the league. Rarely has a commissioner spoken this bluntly against owners, who usually operate with considerable power and influence. But in this case, Goodell sees no room for compromise. He emphasized that the NFL cannot continue to market itself as a league of opportunity and equality while, behind closed doors, ownership decisions betray those very ideals. If we allow a superstar-caliber black quarterback to be sidelined by bias, what message are we sending? Goodell reportedly asked. He has been equally vocal about the broader consequences. If ownership groups continue to make racially motivated decisions or let old-world prejudices dictate who gets opportunities, Goodell fears the NFL will lose credibility not just with fans, but with players and future talent. Young athletes, especially those from minority backgrounds, could start questioning whether the league is really a place where they can succeed on their ability alone. Sponsors and partners could also begin distancing themselves from a that appears unwilling to address systemic bias. For Goodell, the cost of inaction is simply too high. He's Haslam to fix things for Shedeur. He's pushing for structural reforms. According to reports, Goodell wants clearer accountability for how draft decisions are made and how prospects are evaluated. He is pushing for striker diversity initiatives that ensure minority players are given genuine opportunities, not just symbolic gestures. He is also considering stricter ourselves of team ownership, living up to the league's stated values. But make no mistake, Goodell's immediate priority is Shedeur Sanders. He knows Sanders was denied the fair chance that his talent deserved, and he is determined to see that corrected. This isn't charity, it's justice, Goodell was quoted as saying. He emphasized that Shedeur earned his place among the top prospects with his performance, leadership, and potential. To push him down the draft board out of spite or hidden agendas was, in Goodell's eyes, nothing less than sabotage. Jimmy Haslam, in particular, is facing the full brunt of Goodell's pressure. The commissioner has told him directly that continuing down the same path is not an option. Haslam has been urged to publicly recognize the misstep, to show accountability, and to take steps to restore trust not just with Sanders, but with fans and the wider NFL community. Insiders say Goodell has reminded Haslam that ownership is a privilege, not a right, and that with that privilege comes the duty to ensure fairness and diversity are honored in every decision. Goodell's approach has earned him both praise and criticism. Supporters argue that this is exactly the type of leadership the NFL needs. Someone willing to stand up to entrenched ownership power and confront issues of race and fairness head-on. Critics, however, worry that taking such a hard line against owners could create divisions at the highest levels of the league. But for Goodell, the choice is simple: stand with fairness or risk the NFL being consumed by its own hypocrisy. At the heart of it all, Goodell continues to come back to diversity. He has emphasized that the league cannot call itself America's game if it fails to represent and support the diverse communities that fuel its success. Black players have been the backbone of the NFL for decades, and yet, too often, they face disproportionate challenges when it comes to leadership roles like quarterback. Goodell knows that ignoring this reality would only deepen the fractures within the sport. So, he is standing firm. Shedeur Sanders deserves better, and the NFL must do better. The commissioner's message is clear: bias, prejudice, and racially motivated decisions have no place in the draft, no place in ownership, and no place in the future of the league. And if that means forcing owners like Jimmy Haslam to confront their mistakes and commit to meaningful change, should Jimmy Haslam admit the mistake and make things right for Shedeur Sanders? Or is this just another example of the NFL trying to cover up deeper issues? Do you think the league is finally serious about diversity and fairness? Or will this turn out to be more talk than action? Let us know your thoughts in the comments. Do you stand with Goodell on this one? Or do you see it differently?